What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Talking a little bit more about this shooting that took place in New York of the CEO, I have run across an article that says that they have identified this individual. They know the name of this individual. Okay. Now, when I went to confirm this with other sources, I'm not seeing anywhere else where they have supposedly identified this person or that they know the name of this person. Okay. Because this heading right here specifically says suspect identified in United Health executive's murder, New York Post reports. So, according to the New York Post, authorities have identified the man suspected of killing United Healthcare executive Brian Thompson and are closing in on him. New York City Mayor Eric Adams was quoted as saying on Saturday by the New York Post. Okay, so you would think that there has to be some validity to that. But when you think about this from the perspective of the authorities, and then you think about this from the perspective of the shooter, there is a benefit to the authorities in claiming to have identified the man and to know his name, okay? Because that benefit is then that it would force this shooter out of his hiding places. Because let's just assume that the shooter is somewhere hunkered down. He's trying not to get found out. He's trying to stay as low key as he possibly can, right? Wherever that may be, whether it's a home, apartment, friend's home, or whether he's just out in the woods somewhere, assuming that he is still alive and stuff. And that's a whole nother story. A lot of people think that in situations like this, the person is just going to off themselves. Could be true. I hope not, because I hope that the person serves justice. But let's assume, and that's all I'm doing, guys. I'm assuming. Not a journalist. I'm not an FBI agent. We're speculating here. Okay? You guys are like a bunch of friends, and we're all speculating together. All right? People get so emotional. Your take is blah, 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 blah. Like, my take? It's just when we've been told that a shooting's happened, but there's no motive. We don't have a name. We don't know who the person is. There's no motive to why any person did anything that they did. All we can do is assume. All we can do is speculate. All we can do is just share an opinion. Could be wrong. Could be right. Could be way off course. You could be close. I mean, it's I'm a YouTuber, guys. I'm a YouTuber. I mean, slow your roll on the standard that you hold me to, but just hear me out. Assuming that the shooter is hunkered down somewhere, watching the news, okay, and he learns from the media outlets that the New York Post is saying that he has been identified and we know his name, okay? This is going to force the shooter out of his hole, out of his hiding, wherever it is. Because if they know his name, then they know the last place he worked. They know his next of kin. They know the last place that he lived. They know the last place that he went to school. They know the last place that he bought something with a debit card or a credit card or whatever. Now I know he's from Atlanta. Obviously, he arrived in New York, was there for about 10 days before the shooting actually took place, and he stayed in a hostel there. And from everything we know, it was all cash. He paid for everything in cash at that time, obviously to not be detected. But I'm saying prior to that, you know, prior to this 10-day stay in New York before he came from Atlanta, which may or may not be where he's from or where he lives. Obviously, this person probably at some point had a bank account, probably at some point used a credit card, probably at some point used a debit card. Listen, if they know the person's name and know who they are and can identify them by a social security number or some sort of identification number, then they can then begin to put all of the pieces of who this person is together. Next of kin, where they lived last, where they may live now, where the last place they worked. Again, all of these things start to come together. So there is a benefit to the authorities, even if they don't actually know the name of the person, there is a benefit for them to pretend that they do know. Do you get what I'm saying? And they would absolutely tell that little white lie if they thought that it could help their case, if they thought that it could force this shooter out of hiding and out into the public eye where they're able to then, get him, you know? I mean, because if the person's out, this was a targeted shooting. If he lays in hiding in some undisclosed location for however long, that's more time that this individual's going to be out on the street. And they also are probably looking at this, since it was a targeted, it seems to be a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack. They are probably also looking at the fact that this person is not likely, if they do get forced out of their hole, not likely going to go and start, taking out other people and this and that and the third. Okay. Not saying they won't, or not saying that they haven't fulfilled maybe the first leg of their agenda, and maybe some other director or CEO of some sort of insurance company or whatever is in their sights. Um, so we don't know. We're only speculating, but I do wonder if they actually don't know who this individual is yet, as far as by name, but they are saying that they do, hoping that this is going to force the shooter out from wherever he is, assuming that he is still alive and hasn't offed himself trying to completely evade justice altogether, right? And that's all I'm really going to say. But the next thing I wanted to say is that people get their heads up their asses too much when it comes to this stuff. And I mean, I did a video yesterday, and I had someone make a comment. Haha, this guy thinks that healthcare is based in capitalism. Because it is. Like, I mean, who's the idiot here? You know, clearly this individual doesn't know what capitalism is. Capitalism is basically an economic system set up by private or business owned, and it's to push a profit, supply and demand. Basically, capitalism is to gain a profit margin. You're telling me healthcare systems don't make a profit? Get over yourself. That's mostly what they make. Okay. And that's mainly what the complaint here is. The 2010 book, you know, the words that were written on the shell casings. I mean, that's basically what this complaint is about, is they are less concerned about the insured and the actual health and well-being of the insured, financially or physically or mentally or whatever, and way more concerned about turning a profit. The healthcare industry is absolutely based in capitalism. I mean, what an idiotic statement by a person. And I attempted to educate them, say, yeah, and I even copied and pasted some information on there. I mean, obviously, I don't I don't get too caught up in what people say in the comments. People have their opinions, and there's times that people rah, 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 to me, and I'm like, well, I'm just giving my opinion. Relax, no big deal. But there are times where I feel like I need to educate people. So I educated this individual. I looked it up, and I actually asked the question to Google: is healthcare based in capitalism? The exact answer is yes. In the United States, the healthcare system is largely considered to be based on capitalism, meaning healthcare providers and insurance companies operate with the primary goal of generating profit within a market driven system where competition exists between different entities offering healthcare services. However, there are variations in the degree of market influence depending on the specific healthcare sector and government regulations involved. So it's based in capitalism, which is the reason that while I believe that this was absolutely a targeted attack, meaning this person didn't just accidentally show up in New York from Atlanta, which is south of where I am in North Carolina. They didn't accidentally travel 11 hours and just accidentally, lay up in the cut with a weapon and then accidentally just happen to be in the same place as this CEO, Brian Thompson. I mean, of course, it's premeditated, obviously, but I do think that it could still be not necessarily a disgruntled uh, person who, didn't some sort of claim that some sort of insurance claim that they filed got denied, or some sort of insurance claim that their company or that their one of their family members file got denied, or their ailing mother or their dying mother, her insurance claim that could have given her a life-saving procedure denied the claim, and then they're taking out, they're exacting street justice on this healthcare CEO. I mean, of course that could be the case. Of course that could have happened. That exact thing that I just said could have happened, and then that CEO could have been targeted for that exact reason. But I also think at this stage, we don't know for sure, and I think that it could have just been a, in general, just terrorist attack on American capitalism. And the healthcare industry is absolutely based on capitalism. The healthcare industry makes billions and billions and by healthcare I mean healthcare insurance, billions and billions and billions of dollar industry a year, mind-blowing amounts of money that insurance companies make yearly. Okay, so to say it's not rooted in capitalism is just ignorant. I understand. Not I understand. Sometimes people don't know, and they're just ignorant, and ignorant doesn't mean dumb. Ignorance just means you've not studied it. You don't know any better. Ignorant people are not inherently bad, or they're not inherently unintelligent. They just don't know. And this person obviously didn't know that absolutely healthcare insurance and insurance companies in general are rooted in capitalism. Capitalism is our economy. And if you think for one second that insurance companies aren't designed and driven to pull a profit, then you're full of shit, because that's mainly what they do, right? And that's mainly part of what the complaints are, with them denying certain claims and then defending their actions and then deposing and, dropping people and then dropping claims, when people try to step up to the system, and be like, why are you not taking this claim? Or why are you not accepting this claim? Or why are you not giving me the money that my insurance promised me for this claim? The reason that they deny and defend and depose is because they are trying to churn a bigger profit. It all has to do with profit margins. Okay. So, anyway, not much of a point in some of this. Just to say, we don't know yet. The authorities are claiming that they know the name of this person. I'm not truly convinced that they do know the name of this person yet. I think that they could just be saying that, hoping to force this person out of hiding, because obviously that person's thought process, if they're looking at the news, the shooter, if I'm the shooter, which I'm not, if I'm the shooter and I'm looking at the news and they say they know who I am and they know my name, the first thing I do is look around and go, shit. Well, that means they probably know this is where I live. Or that means they probably know I'm in this city. Or if they're hunkered down at a friend's house or whatever it is, that means they probably know that I have ties with this person and they could come looking for me. And then that forces them out of their hole of hiding, right? To evade justice. But I don't know. Maybe they do know. Maybe they do know who the person is. I hope so. And I hope they find the person, and I hope they find the person alive. But anyway, if you guys have heard anything additional, let me know. Definitely would like to know any information. I've been kind of looking at it for most of the day, seeing if any new information has come along. And so far, that's all I've found. Most sources are just saying that they're tightening the net. They're still looking for this individual as quickly and as hard as they can. But I did find that one source that says they supposedly know this shooter's name, but they're reserving anonymity for their own benefit, for their own reasons. And to me, that's, I don't know. I think that could be a little white lie for the reasons aforementioned that I just talked about. So anyway, subscribe to the channel if you would like the video. Also comment down below. Let me know you guys heard anything else. I got a comment, somebody mentioned about Starbucks, that maybe the Starbucks people knew there was supposedly a water bottle there and a DNA smudge and stuff like that, but it was smudged. It was not only smudged, but at the time they don't know the person's name, so if they don't know the person's name and who the person is, then they can't start to connect all these pieces back together, right? They have to know who they're dealing with and where to look first. And I think so far all they really know or suspect is that the person came from Atlanta, and that has to do with, bus records and bus station records and stuff like that. So let me know if you guys have heard anything else, and I will see you on the next video.